Wow. Look at that. So in today's video, we are doing one of my favorite things, the most epic crispy pork belly with all the bubbles of nothing. Wow. This is an amazing recipe. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's really easy to do. Trust the process. Let's get into it. Okay, so we've got ourselves a pork belly. I bought this yesterday from my butcher at Lugarno Gourmet Meats in Sydney. This is 2 kilos of pork belly, skin on, boneless. The 2 secrets to a successful pork belly. 1, the skin needs to be dry. In order to get that crispy crackling, the skin of the pork needs to be dry. The second component, or the second secret to crispy pork belly, at some stage through the cook, you need to introduce high heat, okay? We need high heat and a dry skin. Both of those combined, we will have the most epic, crunchy, crispy, crackling pork belly you've ever had. Let's go. Dry skin is the first component. So in order to dry out the skin, my overall preference is to dry it out naturally in the fridge. Look, I had this in the fridge overnight. As you can see here, exactly the way I pulled it out on a wire rack, uncovered, skin side up, okay? Now this I got from my butcher yesterday. Now the reason why I can cook it today is because at my butcher, he will hang this pork belly up in the cool room, okay? And he's already drying out the skin for me. So I don't have to do that at home. So bought from my butcher yesterday, the skin's already dried. I left it in the fridge, uncovered, on the wire rack, overnight, and today is cook day. Let's go. First thing we're going to work on is the skin. Now, this is called a jacquard. So the jacquard, okay, has a retractable plate here. This one has 48 stainless steel blades, and this will prick tiny holes into the skin of the pork. So as we push down, the plate comes up and the blades go into the skin of the pork. Now the best thing about this tool is you won't overshoot, meaning you won't go all the way past the skin into the meat. It's just too hard. Especially when the skin's dry, it's a little bit harder to prick holes. My preference would be to do it as soon as you get your pork belly home. Do this first. Prick your holes, then put it in the fridge for however many days to dry out the skin. All right, so let's get this pork belly going. Let's get our holes pricked. Here we go. Jacquard in hand. It's sharp. Get your other hand out of the way and go for gold. So nice and hard because the skin's really tough, it's really dry, we need to penetrate. Once your arm gets sore, switch. After you've pricked 1 million holes, you're good to go. If you don't have a jacquard, you have 2 options. Go to the description of the video, you'll find a link. Click on that link, I'll send you to the jacquard that I use, buy it, all right? If you don't want to buy it, no problem. You don't have to, you can still achieve the most epic results without it. Use the tip of a sharp pointy knife and replicate the same thing that the jacquard does. Prick holes into the skin of the pork. Now here, you want to be careful because you don't want to go past the skin into the fat and into the meat. If you do go past the skin, what's going to happen is during the cooking process, you'll have juices pulling up onto the skin of the pork. And anything that pulls on the skin of the pork prevents you from getting crackling, especially in that spot where it's pulling liquid. So don't go past the skin. All right, so if I don't have a jacquard, I would be doing something like this, okay? All over the pork belly. Obviously, it's going to take you longer, but it's going to achieve the same results, okay? It's just a little bit more effort on your part. The jacquard is a lot easier and does a great job. You get the idea. Knife, no problem. For our seasoning, we're going to use Woestershire Sauce as a binder. We've got some dried thyme. We've got rock salt, which I'll explain to you a little bit more about later. Some normal table salt here for seasoning. Black pepper, okay? And we have Chinese 5-spice. Now, if you look at the 5-spice ingredients, Chinese 5-spice has cinnamon bark powder, star anise powder, fennel powder, dried ginger powder, and clove powder, okay? Now, seasoning is very subjective. I love Chinese 5-spice. It's got a nice aniseed flavor, cuts through the fat of the pork really, really well. But obviously, use whatever you like. Salt, pepper, garlic, a little bit of chili, delicious. Got any favorite barbecue rubs? Go for it. We're going to use this as a binder, okay, on the meat of the pork belly, just to help our seasoning adhere and stick. You can use mustard, you can use oil, whatever you like. You just don't need a lot of it, okay? Just get that surface a little bit wet. We all like wet surfaces. After the Worcestershire sauce, the Worcester. All right, we're going to go down with some of this Chinese 5-spice. I like being liberal with this. Some people Don't like it as much, but I love it. Okay, so we're going to go down with a nice sort of generous coating here. Adds a nice color to the meat, goes nice and dark, and really, really good flavor. It's a perfect pairing with pork, okay? All right, so after we pat that in, okay, all right, and then with what's on the board, just try and go down with your sides, just to get a little bit of seasoning all the way around. Okay, what I might do, what we don't want to do is we don't want all this seasoning ending up on the skin of the pork because it will only burn, okay? So I'm just going to waste some paper towels here, okay, and do that, all right? Okay, so we've put our 5 spice, we've got our Worcestershire, we're going to go down with some dried thyme as an aromatic. Don't have much left, but let's see what we can get away with. Okay, there's the dried thyme. Now a little bit of salt. Okay, and last but not least, some pepper. Now I like using this pepper as opposed to like freshly ground black pepper. If you look at this pepper, it's sort of like granules. There's like small balls, all right? So it's a bit more of a subtle flavor and it doesn't burn. We have our pork belly seasoned. You can see now on the skin of the pork belly, we've got some seasoning here on the skin. Can you see that? Come in a little bit closer just to show them. And what we want to do is we want to wipe that off, okay? Any seasoning that is on this skin has a tendency to burn, and it will burn, okay? So wipe it off the best you can. I'll just clip that bit off. Okay, and that's our pork belly prepped, okay? Ready to go. Let's pop this to the side on our wire rack. What we'll do is just get 2 sheets of foil. Okay, shiny side on the bottom. And we're going to create a foil boat. Now, our pork belly is going to sit in the middle. Okay, it's going to sit in the middle just like this. All right, and we're going to bring up the edges of the aluminium foil, just like so. Okay, what this is going to do is we're going to cook our pork belly in this foil boat for the first part of the cook. So it's going to be basting in its own fat. It's going to get juicy. It's going to be delicious. Okay, and we're going to protect the meat side just so it doesn't burn. All right, so just like that, bring your edges in. Okay, now get to your corner, fold one up and fold the other one behind, tuck it in. Bring one to the side, one up behind it, and tuck it in. All right, last one, bring one up, bring the other one behind, and tuck it in. All right. So what we have now is we've created a vessel where our skin at the top here is exposed, but our meat is protected. Now we mentioned dry skin is the integral critical component to ensuring crispy pork crackling. Now what I'm going to do is I've got a bag of rock salt here. I'm going to pour rock salt directly onto the skin. I'm going to put heaps, and a lot of you are going to freak out. Everyone thinks they're eating that much salt. You're not eating the salt. The whole purpose of this step is to ensure that we extract every remaining piece of moisture from the skin in order to set us up for that gorgeous golden crackling. Rock salt onto the skin of the pork. Now rock salt, look how coarse it is, okay? It's not gonna melt, it's not gonna dissolve through the cooking process, and that's why I love it, okay? So you're not gonna end up with like salty skin. Just make sure that you cover the entire skin of the pork. You don't wanna see skin here, okay? So are you freaking out yet? Are you freaking out? The oven's on, it's preheating behind me. I've got it set at 180 degrees Celsius. Let's pop our foil boat, okay, onto a baking tray. All right, just so it's easier to take in and out of the oven. So this is gonna go into the oven as is, 180 degrees Celsius for 60 minutes, okay? So we've got our oven set up with the middle rack. Goes in on the middle rack, 180°, 60 minutes. Now this is the first part of the cook. There's one more part, okay, in terms of the cook. We're gonna take it out after that 60 minutes, brush all that skin off, do a few little things to the skin, put it back in the oven, 250 degrees Celsius for about 20 to 30 minutes. It's gonna be epic. But for now, let's get onto a sauce. While our pork belly is in the oven, it's time to make our sauce. Now, the person behind the camera, being my wife, A, this is her favorite dish of all time, and B, This is her favorite sauce to pair with that gorgeous pork belly. Now, this is a caramelized chili sauce we're making. It's great because it's got some heat, or you can pack as much heat as you like. My wife loves it spicy. She's Chilean, hence, you know, the Chilean. Anyway, so spice is a big thing. Make it as spicy or not as spicy as you like. You don't have to add as much spice, all right? So let's go through it. We've got echallots here. If you don't want echallots or you don't want to be that bougie, just normal brown onion or red onions are fine. We've got some fresh garlic. We've got some fresh ginger. We've got some fresh chilies. I'm also going to use some hot sauce. I'll grab that later. Hoisin sauce, chicken stock. We've got soy sauce, soft brown sugar, and of course, one missing ingredient from this table, white wine. All right, let's get to chopping. Okay, so we just want to fine dice on our echallots. We've got 2 here. I think 2 will be fine. So, let's come down one way with a knife, okay? And then just slice through. You can go one more if you like, okay? And then just a nice fine dice. Fresh ginger, wow, it smells amazing. We're gonna do some strips. Turn it around and then come back the other way. Okay. Our garlic. After you've diced up your garlic, salt, okay, we want minced garlic. And just scrape with the blade of your knife, scrape it back. Just incorporating that salt, bring it back the other way. Minced garlic. Let's go 2. Now this is a caramelized chili sauce. I'm using 2 cayenne chilies, but I am also using a hot sauce, okay? My favorite hot sauce. So if you're not using a hot sauce and you want it spicy, you can go for 6 of these if you like. But again, spice level, depending on what you can handle, all right? Looks good to me. Looks good to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go up to the stove, get this sauce on. A medium-high heat on induction, it's 7. 1 tablespoon of olive oil into the pan.
You're getting all the fragrances?
If you've got a cold, just stand here with a tea towel over your head. Wow. That smells good. Okay, so a couple of minutes just to soften it up before we start adding in the other ingredients. Okay? Alright, so to add to our heat, I mentioned one of my favorite hot sauces. Here it is. This is from, I always pronounce this wrong, Mama Melisse. Okay? Mama Melisse hot sauce. It's amazing. It packs a punch. It's already got ginger in it. It's going to pair beautifully with this dish. Alright, so I'll go for about a tablespoon. Don't measure. Just flow with a little bit of danger. Okay. Yeah, that's about enough because it's hot. Alright, so give that a mix. It is a caramelized chili sauce. You do need sugar, brown sugar. In it goes. That's 1/4 of a cup. All these measurements are going to be in the description. All right. So mix that sugar in. Let that sort of like boil up a little bit. We want that sugar to dissolve and caramelize, change color a little bit before we start adding in our other ingredients. That is looking and smelling amazing. We've got 1/4 cup of white wine. In she goes. Turn our heat back up. We're sort of deglazing the pan here with the wine. We want to cook it out for a minute or so. Otherwise that flavor is going to be too strong. 2 tablespoons soy sauce in. 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce. Mix. Turn down our heat to medium-high. Just get all those ingredients incorporated. 400 ml chicken stock. And then we're going to let it simmer. We're going to let it reduce. Want some bubble action to get that sort of sauce to a nice sort of syrupy type consistency. We'll check back on it a little bit later. This has been on the heat for about 15, 17 minutes on medium high. It's reduced down. Going to pour it into a jug. Now you can strain this if you don't like bits. We love bits in my household, so we are not straining. So that's our caramelized chili sauce. Woo, it's exciting. All right, first part of the cook, 180 Celsius, 60 minutes. Let's have a look. Whoa, look at that. Okay, so you can see automatically, the first thing you notice, how much the pork belly is contracted. All right, let's get this out of here. So pork belly is over on the bench. Grab your rack that was in the middle, put it down the bottom. We're setting the oven up for the second part of the cook now. All right, changing from fan bake over to grill. The heat now is coming from the top. We're gonna have our pork belly sitting on the rack furthest away from the heat. Why? So the top of it doesn't burn, okay? For the temperature, this is where we want high heat in our cook. 250 Celsius is good. Coming back to our pork belly. For the next stage, we need to get rid of all this salt, okay? Because no one's consuming this. Grab your pork belly. We're gonna wipe all this salt off, okay? Off the sides, off the top, off everywhere, okay? You can see how much salt actually sticks to the side of the meat. All right, so just make sure you get all that off. All right, once you're happy with that, put it in your tray on top of your cake rack. Again, you don't want the bottom to burn, okay? So have it elevated. Next ingredient, white vinegar. All right, this is just gonna make sure that every inch of this pork belly gets cracked up nice and hard, okay? You're putting on maybe about half a tablespoon's worth of vinegar, okay? So it's not heaps. You will not taste it. It will not taste anything like vinegar, and it's definitely not gonna be salty, okay? We mentioned before that rock salt doesn't absorb into the skin, so it's by no means salty. My wife loves salty crackling, so this is where we go in with a little bit of salt, okay? Okay, it's not for anything else other than some seasoning. All right, here we go. 250 degrees Celsius, it's going on the bottom rack in the oven, 25 to 30 minutes. You need to watch this part like a hawk. Come and have a look at the crack show. And she goes 25, 30 minutes. Let's get 20 minutes on the timer. Okay, so while our pork belly is in for that last stage of the cook, grab some aluminium foil and have it ready. What's gonna happen is, some of that skin is gonna crackle faster than the other parts, okay? So we're gonna end up with some peaks, some stuff that's gonna bubble and crackle, look golden and delicious, while the other stuff still hasn't developed yet. We wanna protect those peaks. We wanna protect the parts of the skin that's already crackled, and that looks amazing. We're gonna cover that with pieces of foil, okay? All right, fold it over if you want to, make a different shape, okay? Just to cover the pieces that have already crackled and look amazing, all right? That way, they don't burn and it gives the rest of the skin a chance to catch up, all right? Let's go. The pork belly has been in now for 14 minutes. Check it out. It looks absolutely amazing. See all those bubbles, that beautiful sort of bubbles of nothing? That's the jacquard, nice dry skin. See, it's just starting to brown a little bit in those corners. The back end of this pork belly is fully done. I love it. I'm gonna cover that with foil. That looks sensational. I just want this part here to catch up, okay? Just this section here. So we'll give that a chance. We've only been in for 15 minutes, so let's go back in again. All right, so we've been riding for 18 minutes in total. Needs more foil. We are almost at the end. So see here, it's just starting to brown a little bit. You know, we're talking about 1 more minute and this could be black, all right? So just use the foil to your advantage, guys. All right, and again, we just have this little small spot here that we're just waiting on a few more bubbles. We've still got 6 minutes left on the timer for a 20-minute cook for the second part of this pork belly. So we're well within time. Our pork belly has now been in the oven for 20 minutes. It's done. Check it out. Okay, so our pork belly's done. Let's just do a quick scrape test. Wow. So we're just gonna let this rest. Just gonna cover it with foil. See, I've got both ends of the tray open. We need steam to be able to escape, okay? We don't want it to sweat, all right? But that crackle ain't going nowhere, so don't worry about it. Keep it warm, set it to the side. We can add in our caramelized chili sauce. Woo. Onto the bench. Someone behind the camera is salivating like excessively hard at the moment, so let's just get through this really quickly. Let's eat. crispy pork belly. Wow, that is so good. So juicy, perfect crackle. The fat has fully rendered underneath the skin, which is what you want. Put one down, we put one up, we put one down, and then we'll put one up. A little bit more of the sauce. Okay, just like that. And there you have it, guys. My crispy pork belly in the oven, start to finish, caramelized chili sauce, my loaded special rice, some broccolini on the side. Does it get better than this? I don't know. Okay, so if you liked any part of this video, do me the biggest favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, drop me a comment. If you have any questions at all on anything that you've seen in the video, let me know down below. I'll be happy to answer. I'll see you in my next video. Get out of here.